Alright, so at number 9, we have the Khorne Daemonkin. A brand new created codex here in 7th edition. Never existed before. And I find it interesting that GW would come out with a Chaos God specific codex. Because if you look at its equivalent, the Chaos Space Marines, you kind of see that more people, and at least in my local group, more people tend to play with Khorne than they do with the other Chaos Gods. I knew one guy who he did some awesome modeling, awesome conversions, had awesome painting done, and he was a follower of Nurgle. And I know a couple other people that kind of have gone back and forth between Khorne and I think it's Tzeentch. Tzeentch or Slaanesh. I think it's Tzeentch. And I've actually had the pleasure of playing against both the Chaos Space Marines and the Khorne Daemonkin. And the Khorne Daemonkin is a strong codex. It takes a lot of what you get out of the Chaos Space Marine codex and kind of refines it and retunes it. And really you get that flavor, the more of a sense of a true feel of what it's like to be a follower of Khorne, to try and live up to the expectations that the Blood God demands. And I really, one of the things I really like, is that for each Chaos death, I don't remember if it counts kills for your opponent, but for each loss on your side, you kind of gain those losses as kind of, I don't know what the exact term for, but for this video's sake, we'll just call them blood tokens. And you can cash those blood tokens in to really get out some good stuff. Particularly the Demon Prince. Those things are nasty. And I played 2 games against Khorne Daemonkin. One was 1,000, and I think the other was 1,250 or 1,500. I believe it was 1,250. The first game I played against them was with an army that going up, if you knew you were going to go up against Chaos, it would kind of be a no-brainer to not bring the army, i.e. the Grey Knights. But we were playing on a table with a customized rule set that really kind of was unique in the fact that if you deep struck, then you had to roll for leadership, and if you failed your leadership, you had to roll a d6. It was either a d6 or it's a d3. I believe it's a d6. And your unit could do nothing for that amount of turns. So if I deep struck, failed my leadership, which I did, and on a d6 I rolled a 3, I could do absolutely nothing with that unit for 3 turns. With the exceptions, they could still fire Overwatch, and they could do close combat in the assault phase. Other than that, they couldn't shoot, I couldn't move. I don't even think I could generate warp charges, or use any of their psychic abilities. Although I did gain the warp charge still that I could use on my other units, which was good. But in that particular game, I think I lost by 2 points. Because it was a Maelstrom mission. Now in the next game, play the exact same list. Kind of a different table setup. Actually, we use the same table layout, but different deployment. And we didn't use any custom rules. It was just straight up regular rules. This time I had switched from the Grey Knights to the Imperial Fists. And somehow I managed to beat Chaos by 1 point. Which surprised me, because if there's one particular army that I have always struggled against, it's always been Chaos. And the times I've played Chaos before was against players that were using the Chaos Space Marine Codex, but were focusing on Khorne. Now that there's a codex that we see here that's catered to Khorne, it makes things a lot more difficult. In a way, their units are a little bit better. They actually, I believe they got a couple unique units. And Khorne is scary to go up against. Even though I have actually considered starting a Chaos army, which I probably could, because I could proxy my Space Marines for Chaos until I was able to get into a position to start collecting the Chaos models. The only thing I really would need would be the Codex. And maybe the data cards. And Khorne, I'm trying to remember, I can't think of right offhand if they had any real formations. I'm pretty sure they do, because almost every Codex in 7th edition has come out with some form of formations unique to them. Now, the only downside to Khorne, really it's a downside for Chaos, is in comparison to their loyalists, the Adeptus Astartes, they get cheated a little bit. They don't get this, the same war gear, even though you would think, being that at one point they were loyal to the Emperor, they would have the same gear. Yet they don't. On the same lines, they don't get the same kind of vehicles that regular Space Marines do. Now, they do have the Rhino, they do have Predators, they do have Vindicators, but they don't have their own version of the world. They don't have their own version of the Whirlwind. They don't have their own version of Land Raiders. Now, they do have the regular Land Raider with the twin-link blast cannons, but they don't get their own versions of the Redeemer, the Crusader, nothing like that, which is really a downside for Chaos. But really, they have enough other stuff, they have other shenanigans that kind of negates a lot of their deficiencies. And if you go up against Space Marines, and I've been on the receiving end of this, they have so many shenanigans that at one point I felt, is my Codex even any good? Now, back in 6th edition, when the Space Marine Codex came out, I felt, yeah, I have a chance to stand up against all these other factions. But against Chaos, it just seemed impossible. And then you started getting Codex updates from there, and then I just kind of felt, is there even any point in me playing anymore? But I stuck to it. And now we're starting to see Khorne is really out there to, make people notice that if you wanted to play a GON-specific codex, you didn't have to go piece by piece through the Chaos Codex to put together an army. Here you have your own codex. So do you guys think that Khorne Daemonkin is worthy of being at number 9? Or should it have been higher? Could it be a little bit lower? Is there something I've missed with Khorne? Or do you agree Khorne's good? He's really good. But there are areas that they're lacking in.